Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you all my Dragon Master Knight Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile for October 2021. This is actually a deck that I've been working on for a while now. This is the big boss monster to the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. When Kaiba and Yugi brought together their ace monsters during the video game arc and made the Dragon Master Knight to defeat the Big Five, also bringing together the strength of Mai and Joey's main dragons to reach a powerhouse that could defeat the five-headed dragon. And that's what I wanted to make with this deck profile today, an easy way to summon out this boss monster with 5,000 attack and 5,000 defense, and a card that can power up by having even more dragons on the field for you to use. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the main deck, for our main go-to monsters with the key card of Dragon Master Knight being Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon and Blackluster Soldier, I'm running 3 Blackluster Soldier. Now this card is in the deck mostly to be used as a resource to search out for the Dragon Master Knight, but that doesn't mean there aren't ways for us to summon it in the deck also. So we utilize this card at 3 just as another powerhouse that can be summoned out onto the field with 3,000 attack and 2,500 defense. I would say the biggest weakness to the Blackluster Soldier, aside from the fact that it is a ritual monster, is the fact that to complement the different playstyle for the deck, it is an earth attribute, while Blue Eyes being a light attribute could definitely go well with some of the chaos support that we can run together with this deck. But 3 Blackluster Soldier still needed. I would say just so you have easy targets for going into the Dragon Master Knight. And also with the other requirement for the Dragon Master Knight being Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, I'm running 3 Blue Eyes White Dragon. Not only do we have the option to just downright fusion summon into Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon using these 3 monsters and polymerization, but being able to summon back Blue Eyes White Dragon onto the field while we have Dragon Master Knight just gives us a way to power up this card even more, since it gains 500 attack for each Dragon type monster you control except for this card. So 3 Blue Eyes and just more ways to special summon them from the graveyard with some of the other cards I'm running in the deck is definitely a necessity. And for more substitution for the fusion requirements and just more search for polymerization, our main go-to fusion spell, I run 3 King of the Swamps. Now, you can replace one of the names for Dragon Master Knight using King of the Swamp, or just search out polymerization. Much easier, I'd say, to substitute Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Then you could just open up Blackluster Soldier and have King of the Swamp, and then get out Dragon Master Knight that much more quickly. But 3 King of the Swamp, just more search power altogether, where the other search power in the deck for Blackluster Soldier comes in the form of Manju of the 10,000 Hands. When this card is normal or flip summon, you can add 1 ritual monster or 1 ritual spell from your deck to your hand. Now we do run a ritual spell, which I'll get to in just a bit, but the main search most of the time when I use this card is to search out Blackluster Soldier to then add to my hand and be used as one of the fusion materials for Dragon Master Knights. I also run 2 of the Dark Hex-Sealed Fusion. If you want to run the light variant, that's completely fine as well. I mostly use it as just another substitute option like King of the Swamp for my different fusion options in the deck. But there's another reason why I chose the Dark Hex-Sealed Fusion, which we'll get to in just a bit, with a one-of in the deck being Cyberstein. Now, you have to properly fusion summon Dragon Master Knight, but you can still pay the 5,000 life points with Cyberstein and summon out Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon to the field, giving you one of the requirements right then and there with no restrictions on the card. So with it, you have a dragon monster out on the field, and also if you have one of these substitute cards still used for Dragon Master Knight, you can summon this card right next to Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, and then Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon will provide the Dragon Master Knight with the 500 point boost, and then you could just use the Cyberstein to link summon it away for one of your extra deck options. And for more of the monster card setup in the main deck, I also run 2 Elemental Hero Prisma. This card can also be used as more of a replacement for Blackluster Soldier, being able to reveal the Dragon Master Knight in our extra deck and then just make it be the name of that card while also sending one to the graveyard, thing out the deck for some other more important cards. I only ran 2 though. I really feel like we had plenty of other search options for Blackluster Soldier. I just wanted to keep the options available using this card. What really came to mind, though, with the rest of the monster lineup was just more ways to get dragons onto the field to use against my opponent to power up the Dragon Master Knight. So I decided to run one Black Dragon Collapse Serpent and also one White Dragon Wyvern Buster. They're searchable off of one another, but you just need the banish of a light attribute monster or dark attribute monster in your graveyard to summon them, vice versa. And that is why I also chose to have the Dark Hex Sealed Fusion, because with aside from those, we don't really have too many dark attribute monsters in the deck to run, aside from some link monsters we may be able to make. That's why I chose those cards, so we can have them as a resource in the graveyard, then to just banish to summon out cards like Wyvern Buster. And then if we do use them for a link summon, we can at least then search out their other counterpart in the deck also, and being a dragon type on the field to use to power up the Dragon Master Knight. And then lastly, for the monsters, I also run two Chaos Dragon Levianeer. Now, what I love about this card is the majority of cards we run for the attribute in this deck is light. So if we banish all light attribute with Chaos Dragon Levianeer, that gives us a special summon of a monster in our graveyard, which we can then summon back another dragon to the field, which then if we summon Blue Eyes, we have a rank 8 play option there, which we have plenty of dragons to go into with those also. But it could just be two dragons on the field right then and there, and then that's a 1,000 attack point power boost to the Dragon Master Knight using this card. And the fact that Chaos Dragon Levianeer is just an easy special summon by using the banished resources we may have used to go into some of our other fusions in the deck also. And that is it for the monsters. We'll now move on to the spells. 3 Polymerization, it's just one of the more important cards in the deck for all of your different fusion plays. We run plenty of different targets for all 3 Polymerization to be utilized, and we have plenty of other search options, including King of the Swamp, in the deck for us to add this card to our hand. For more of the fusion substitutions, I also run 2 Fusion Tag. You target one monster your opponent you control, reveal 1 fusion monster in your extra deck, and if you do, the targeted monster's name can be treated as the revealed fusion monsters, and if used for a fusion summon this turn. So with it, you just reveal the fusion monster in your extra deck, and then the target monster's name is treated as the revealed fusion. So you can make the monster on the field become the name of Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. So very, very useful as just another substitute if you already have your Blackluster Soldier in your hand. You can even use it on cards like Cyberstein. If you already used Cyberstein before that play, what you'll do is you'll reveal the name and then basically have it be treated as this card. Then you'll use Cyberstein to special summon out the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, and then you can use the Cyberstein as the fusion requirements to then go into the Dragon Master Knight with the Blackluster Soldier in your hand. And as for the ritual spell, I run 2 Advanced Ritual Art. Now, you have the Blackluster Soldier and Blue Eyes in the deck, which I didn't want to run Blackluster Soldier's actual ritual spell. It's more of a resource card that you have to invest into just to summon out a Blackluster Ritual on a monster Blackluster Soldier onto the field. Advanced Ritual Art, you just ritual summon 1 monster from your hand and send normal monsters from your deck to the graveyard whose total levels equal the ritual monsters, which Blackluster Soldier and Blue Eyes are both level 8. So then you can just send Blue Eyes to the graveyard and then summon out Blackluster Soldier from your hand without having to waste any resources aside from the ritual spell and the 1 monster in your hand to get a 3,000 attack point monster out onto the field. I also run 2 Fusion Recycling Plants and the 1 Terraforming. Another way just to recycle resources, you could always use the Blackluster Soldier for a fusion summon of the Dragon Master Knight and then just use this card to add that resource back to your hand to then ritual summon next turn using the Advanced Ritual Art play I spoke of before. And for more search power, I also run 3 Summoner's Art. Now we run the 3 Blue Eyes targets. So just being able to thin out the deck by adding your different Blue Eyes searches to your hand is what I like about this card. If you open up all 3 Summoner Arts, then you can just search all 3 Blue Eyes, or if you have just 2 of the Blue Eyes in your hand and 1 Summoner Art, depending on the ratio, you can just easily add all 3 to your hand and then go for the fusion play like that, or just have more resources to use. For some of the lower numbers for the spells, I also run 1 Reinforcements to the Army to search out the Elemental Hero Prisma, Monster Reborn, giving us another dragon on the field, and 1 Harpy's Feather Duster for destroying my opponent's back row, because they're definitely going to try and stop when this 5,000 attack point monster hits the field with any means necessary. And then to finish off the main deck, for the only trap card I'm running in the deck, it's just 3 Fusion Reserve, just another option to either reveal the Dragon Master Knight to search Blackluster Soldier, or even Blue Eyes Ultimate to search out one of the Blue Eyes using this card, and then another recycle option for any of the polymerizations that are in our graveyard. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. I run one Dragon Master Knight. Now, I originally just wanted to start off with one, but the more I kept playing, the more I realized that I could get out more than just one of this card per game. So if you wanted to run a second copy of the Dragon Master Knight in the deck, I'll show you what you can take out for another copy. But once again, we've been over the effect of this card plenty of times already in the game. It is a monster that must be fusion summoned, cannot be special summoned by other ways. This card gains 500 attack for each dragon type monster you control, except for this card. So as long as you have a good board of dragon monsters, you can have this card potentially hit 6,500. That's the most I've been able to in all of the practice games I've done with this card, but still very, very powerful of a card to be able to hit against my opponent and not having a lot of monsters that they can get over this card with. I also run the one Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, just whether you get it out normal means of fusion or Cyberstein or just use it in name to copy with other cards like Fusion Tag. This is a big help of a card and definitely needed to get out the Dragon Master Knight. I also run one First of the Dragons because of the normal Blue Eyes monsters we run on the deck. It's just another fusion means to summon out onto the field. And for the Xyz monsters, I run one Dingirsu, one number 38, one Heliopolis, and one number 68. You go into these very rarely, but sometimes if I have the Levianeer play successful with all the light banish, I can then summon out a Blue Eyes onto the field and then overlay the two of them into one of the monsters of choice, with the majority of the monsters I run being dragon type, so being able to then just make another dragon monster will keep the power of my Dragon Master Knight up. And then for the Link monsters, I run one Nightmare Phoenix, one Nightmare Cerberus, one Cross Sheep, one Barricade Board Blocker, one Hippo Shenengan, one Nightmare Unicorn, and also one Borlo Dragon and one Saryuja for the additional dragon monsters that you can, very rarely can you go into them, but still a good option I would say to have in the deck just as another power boost to use. And then as for the go-to plays, it really does rely on what combo you have. If you have Cyberstein and then Polymerization and then Blackluster Soldier in your hand, this is probably the easiest 3-card combo to use. What you'll do is you'll summon out your Cyberstein and then use its effect to pay 5,000 life points to special summon out your Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Then you'll use Polymerization, fusing the two of them together. And just like that, you easily got out the Dragon Master Knight onto the field. And if these are the only cards in your graveyard, you can't use Monster Reborn to summon them out, but it's also another option to use for more link plays for your additional monsters if you have other means of summoning out some cards on the field. If you go for the Fusion Tag play, you can always have the option with Cyberstein on the field to then activate your Fusion Tag, targeting a monster you control, reveal a fusion monster in your extra deck, and the revealed monster becomes that monster's name. So then you'll reveal Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, and then you'll use the effect of Cyberstein to summon it down to the field, and you'll use Polymerization. Since Cyberstein counts as the name, you can use it and Blackluster Soldier to then summon out the Dragon Master Knight onto the field, giving you these two boss monsters on the field for full use against your opponent. Some other plays revolving around the setup for your different dragon monsters. Once again, Manju is a great search for just adding your Blackluster Soldier to your hand, but more of the replacement options can come in the form of King of the Swamp, or even just being a search option for the Polymerization onto the field to use. Even if you were to banish it and special summon it back onto the field with cards like Chaos Dragon Levianeer, this card could still be the replacement for one of the other fusions while on the field, needed to then summon out your go-to boss monster like that as well. But you also have the main go-to play of when you have the Dragon Master Knight out on the field, depending on what's in your graveyard. If you have the majority light attribute play, like I spoke of, and then your Blue Eyes setup also, you can banish, make sure you at least leave one Blue Eyes, but 3 of the light attribute in your graveyard to summon out your Chaos Dragon Levianeer if the other Blue Eyes is in the graveyard, which most of the time this play will happen if you use all 3 Blue Eyes from your hand to go for the fusion play. With that summon, you can then overlay the 2 together, or keep them on the field for the 6,000 attack point boost, but most of the time I do like to overlay them to then go into another Xyz monster, which is more of a boss monster option, especially if you use Chaos Dragon Levianeer, since it can't attack the you use its effect, giving you that play, and then using the detached for another negation. And even if you have some of the other dragons I spoke of, can be used for the banish cost to summon out those cards, also keeping the Dragon Master Knight's attack very high on the field. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy. I've definitely gone through a good number of different boss monsters from the original Yu-Gi-Oh series, but glad I was finally able to get around to the Dragon Master Knight. It's definitely one that I would say is overlooked a good amount. But as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.